Hello, and welcome to Zap the Gender Pay Gap, the podcast series where we expose the elephant in the room. The elephant's name, the gender pay gap. I am coming to you from Memphis, Tennessee, located on the banks of the mighty Mississippi River. Nestled in the southwest corner of the state, Memphis is home to the blues, barbecue, and so much more. I am your host, Gwendolyn Tucker. Thank you so very much for joining me for this episode of Zap the Gender Pay Gap. I am your host, Gwendolyn Tucker. Look for me on Apple, Spotify, and other platforms where you find your favorite podcasts, including YouTube. I would love to be one of your favorites, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review. I'd really appreciate that too. If you're attuned at all to what is going on in the United States of America, you know we're in the throes of a hotly contested race to see who will become our next president and vice president. The way our process works, several candidates vie to become their party's nominee. Although we have three parties, Independent, Republican, and Democrat, in essence, only two of the three are considered major political parties. We, the people, have selected the nominee for each party. They will run against each other to see who comes out as the winner. One of the features of this contest is for each candidate to participate in at least one debate. The race is so competitive that folks argue over who won the debate. If your preferred candidate did well to you, there's no question who won. But if your candidate didn't do so well, that's another story. It's an opportunity for each candidate to present themselves and their vision for the country. Bottom line, it's a chance to sway undecided voters. Honestly, I will be glad when this whole thing is over. I'm sure some of you will be too. You may be wondering why I'm talking about debates and political candidates. Perhaps you're thinking to yourself, what does this have to do with zapping the gender pay gap? Those of you who know me already know my reply, don't you? For those who don't know me, my reply is, I'm glad you asked. The winner of a debate between political candidates may be up for discussion, but when it comes to negotiating pay, there should be no debate. On my last episode, I stated that navigating the corporate landscape takes savvy. That's especially true when it comes to negotiating pay. I took a deep dive into a Harvard Business Review expose on why women don't negotiate their job offers. If you missed it, don't worry. I'll put a link to it in the show notes below. Please carve out some time to take a listen. On the last episode, I promised to share episodes and moments when you should absolutely negotiate your salary. And they are these. Number one, before accepting a job offer. Number two, when starting a new role with your existing employer. And number three, the first year into your role. These are pivotal times that you should consider negotiating for higher pay. I stumbled across an article and saw that in addition to the ones I've already mentioned, Glassdoor also recommends negotiating 6 months into your role, as well as almost 2 years, leading up to 2 years into your role. The other day, I came across this statement: there is an opportune time to do things, a right time for everything. Then it lists times for doing things, a right time to search, and another time to count your losses, a right time to hold on, and another to let go. And then this, a right time to shut up, and another time to speak up. Yes, indeed, there is a right time for everything, every deed, and there's no getting around it. So at these points in your career, this is not the right time to shut up, but to speak up on your behalf. Those best times to negotiate for higher pay is number one, before accepting a job offer. Number two, when starting a new role. Number three, 6 months into your role. Number four, 1 year into your role, and then number five, about a year and a half to 2 years into your role. Let's take a look at why. Why is it critical to negotiate at these points along your career path? The reasons why, based on my experience and advice from Glassdoor, are as follows. Before accepting a job offer with a new company or before starting a new job with your existing employer, it is so important to conduct your market research on the position you're considering. Why? Because you want to find out the market rate of pay for that position. This will help you go to the negotiation table in a position of strength, and doing your market research will give you that leverage. I would guess that it makes sense to you to negotiate pay 1 year into your role because that's typically annual review time. In my experience, most companies have a policy to conduct annual performance reviews and grant raises or bonuses. But even though a company has a policy, they don't often do well carrying it out. So it will be incumbent on you and in your best interest to make sure the conversation happens, even if your boss doesn't initiate it. And even if he or she does, there still may be room to negotiate, but you have to start the conversation before your rating and raise is decided. You want to get the highest raise, right? Not just the standard. I'm sure you'll be grateful for the amount that you get, but I encourage you not to settle for just any amount, especially if it is less than what your contributions warrant. These are wise words that I heard from a wise man. And I've said this before, and it only seems fitting to say it here. No one can pay you what you're worth. You're just too valuable, but they can pay you what your contributions are worth. So, three of the best times to negotiate pay are when you start a new job, either with a new company or your existing employer, and 1 year into your new position. Here are two other times that you should negotiate and reasons why. 6 months into your role. Is that a surprise? By then, you've developed a great track record. When you interviewed for the position, your employer only had an idea of what you can do. But now they have proof, and you do too, because you have been documenting your performance. When they decided to hire you, they thought you could walk on water. But lo and behold, you can walk on water without getting wet. Now that's a feat in and of itself. And according to Glassdoor, 6 months into your role is the perfect time to lay the foundation for a future discussion and learn what it will take to advance. It may not result in an immediate raise, maybe it's not now, but perhaps later, because you are planting seeds for the future. Now, about a year and a half to 2 years into your role, you should be thinking about how you plan to grow, either within your current position or department, or in pursuing another position within the company. It's time to start having conversations with your boss about your desire to grow and get guidance on how to grow within the organization. Now, with all the talk about conducting market research and getting information on salary, you may be wondering where to start. You may be wondering, where can I go to get data to assist in knowing my value? Well, do I have a treat for you? Glassdoor has developed a very cool tool, the Know Your Worth Calculator. It does just what it says, helps you learn what your contributions are worth. Now, there is a right time for everything, an opportune time to ask for what you want and what you deserve. When it comes to negotiating pay, the great debate has been resolved. There is no debate. Perhaps you hesitate when it comes to negotiating your pay. Do you shut up when it's time to speak up? If so, but you like to change that, I would be happy to assist you with that. To set up a call to find out how I can show you how to close your pay gap and determine if we are a good fit, just message me. Go to gwendolynjtucker.com and click on contact. A link is in the description below. You can reach out to me there. Women, You work hard for your money. I can show you how to take home all of it. A great big thank you for joining me for this episode of my podcast. Join me next time as I take a deeper dive into showing you how to find and fix your gender pay gap. Learn your market value and get paid what you're worth in today's job market. Wouldn't that be cool? I know. I think so too. If you like what you hear here, please invite a woman in your world to listen into. If you missed the previous episode, just please take a listen. Look for me on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and other platforms where you find your favorite podcast. And by the way, I would love to be one of your favorites. I look forward to seeing you here next Wednesday at noon Central Standard Time for the next episode of Zap the Gender Pay Gap. Until then, please be well. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Zap the Gender Pay Gap. Please rate, review, and subscribe to or follow me wherever you get your favorite podcast. I am your host, Gwendolyn Tucker. Thanks so much for listening. See you next time.